Hey friends, what's going on there? So a quick lesson I want to talk about today about walk-ups and walk-downs. And I want to talk about the difference between a sort of clean walk-up and walk-down. Take this one for example. Okay, I'm in key of C. I'm going from the 1 chord down to the 5 chord, a G, and back up to the 1. And maybe I'll walk up to the 4 chord, the F. Back to the 1, take it down to the 5, and end it on the 1 chord. Okay? What I was doing there was only using notes in the major scale for that key. But here's the deal. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how you can selectively use the flat 3rd and flat 7th tones from any given scale, any given key you're in. And even though those two notes are not in that key, in that major key, they're going to add a rawness, a grittiness, a sort of like darkness, a bit of unhingedness to whatever you're playing, which depending on what you're playing can be exactly what you're looking for. So check out this. That was a flat 7th, right? Let's walk it up and use a flat 3rd. Okay, much more of a bluesier, gritty, raw, whatever the term you want to use is. This can be a really effective thing you can use. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you this principle. So check this out. I have this PDF I made. Adding grit to your walk-ups and walk-downs. I'm going to show you two different keys. I have the key of C and the key of D tabbed out here. Okay, I'm going to show you the same exact exercises in both keys. And for each exercise, I'm going to show you the clean way to do it and then the gritty or raw way to do it. And the only difference of the raw versions is using these flat 3rd or flat 7th tones, okay? Now, another thing I want to say is if walk-ups and walk-downs are new to you, check out lesson 354 over at my website, playsongnotes.com. This one is all about walk-ups and walk-downs, and this focuses only on the notes in the major scale within any given key. This PDF has 5 different keys I show, and for each key I show the same walk-up and walk-downs with the fretboard mappings. This is a great one to sort of get the idea of these things. And ultimately, again, these walk-ups and walk-downs, they're just taking notes from whatever key you're in, and they're using those to connect the bass lines between chords. So if I'm going from a C down to a G, what I can do is take notes from the key of the C major scale, okay? And I'm sort of connecting the bass notes of those chords. And then lastly, if the notes themselves are kind of new to you, check out this one. This is lesson 356. This is one where I basically do a good overview of what the 12 notes are, how to find them on the fretboard, understanding the difference between sharps and flats, the difference between whole steps, half steps, tones and semitones, what an octave is. So these are all available at my website, playsongnotes.com. Thanks to all of you who are supporting me monthly. I really, really appreciate it. And let's get into this lesson now. I want to talk about this grit aspect of walk-ups and walk-downs and how these flat 3rds and flat 7ths can be so effective at bringing this into your playing. Let's get into it, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Let's go. All right, y'all, so let's dig into the first example of this lesson, which is going to be looking at the key of C. Okay, now a quick summary of the key of C is that the notes in this key are shown here. We're going to have a C, a D, an E, an F, a G, an A, a B, and a C. Now there's lots of different ways to play these notes up and down the fretboard, but we're going to be worried about just the first 3 frets because it's kind of like it works well with open chords, right? Now you have on the fretboard diagrams here, and I also have this in the horizontal thing where it says notes in this key. The important thing to understand here is this idea of scale degree, okay? Scale degree basically means within any major scale, you have the same 7 degrees just repeating, okay? Like we went up the scale there as we did from C to D to E to F to G to A to B to C. If we said that in degrees, that would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, okay? And those also go down. If this is a 1, this is where we started on the 5th string, 3rd fret. We could go down from a 1 to a 7 to a 6 to a 5 and to a 4 and to a 3. The low E string, which is the lowest note on the guitar, is the 3rd degree in the C major scale, okay? 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, so this again has to do with just basic understandings of how to read a fretboard map. So that's the quick review there of the notes we're playing. The next thing I want to do is show you these tabs, these two different ways to play this basic walk down. We're going from a C down to a G and back up to a C. So what I just showed you there, that basic walk down, C, bass to a G, and then walk it up to a C. This is super similar to what I showed in lesson 354, where I showed this same basic walk down in like 5 different keys. So this is what I've already taught in another lesson, but here is the sort of gritty version of this. Instead of doing this, which is nice and major scale, sounds good and nice and orderly and happy, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this gritty version. What is bringing in the grit in this example is this note right here, the 1st fret of the 5th string, okay? Now, if you were to look at the tab here, you know, I have these tabs written out. 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 1st fret, open to low E string, 3rd fret. Now, when I say flat 7th, it's important you understand, again, that 7th does not mean the 7th fret. I'm not talking about that at all. This is degree of the scale, okay? So when I say flat 7th, if you look at the fretboard mapping and you look at the scale degrees, you see that the one tone is on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. 2nd fret of the 5th string is a 7. And if we go 1 note to the left, or closer to up the neck of the guitar or down the neck of the guitar, that's a flat 7th, and that's the note which is going to add some grit to this thing. So when we walk it down, we're going to go from 3rd fret to 3rd fret to 1st fret to open and then to the G note. And we walk it up, we're going to use slightly different notes. We're going to go 3rd fret, 3rd fret on the 6th string to 1st, 2nd, 3rd on the 5th string. A little bit of a chromatic walk. Chromatic in music terms just means you're sort of going one note at a time. That doesn't really make sense. It means you're going like to the next closest note, and then the next closest note, and then the next closest note, okay? You're sort of going from that's a little chromatic run there. Because these 3 notes are in a row, like there's literally no notes between them, that's what makes it chromatic, okay? And we're going to end up back on that C. So let me play the non-gritty version a couple times, then I'll do the gritty version, and you can just hear the difference that this one note, this flat 7th makes, okay? Then we're going to move on and look at the flat 3rd. Okay, so here's the non-gritty version. Okay? And here's the gritty version. One more time. Okay, so that is the first exercise we're going to look at there. And then next, I want to show you this version where we're going to use a flat 3rd. And it's a super similar concept. We're going to be in the key of C again, but we're going to be walking up to an F. Can't bar the thinnest 2 strings of this F, just do ignore the 1st string. So you can do, okay? So here, if you look at scale degrees, we're going from the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, let's do that same thing, but we're going to use a flat 3rd here. All right, but here, we're going to do the same general transition from a 1 to the 4 to the 1. But with our walk up and walk down, we're going to use a flat 3rd, okay? So when we walk up, we're going from 1st to 2nd to 3rd fret on the 4th string. And that's going from a flat 3rd to a 3rd to a 4th, okay? Flat 3rd to a 3rd to a 4th. And we do the F strum, and then we're going to go from the 4/4, flat third, second, first. Here it is if you do the clean version. Nice and major, right? Kind of by the book, it sounds nice and clean and orderly and structured. But the gritty version, it almost sounds like it has some swagger to it, or it's kind of, this reminds me of like when you go up or down the steps and you kind of, well, I was going to say you miss a step or you skip a step or you step one step further than you expect when you're going down the steps, for example. There's something about the momentum. Like it almost, that gritty note catches you off guard for a little bit, but then it reorients itself. So anyway, that's the key of C version. Now really quick, let me show you the key of D, because it's the same concepts, but we're going to basically be using a different key. And you're going to see that even though the key changes, the concepts stay the same. So in the key of D, the notes in the key of D are going to be a D, an E, an F sharp, a G, okay, an A, a B, a C sharp, and a D. Those represent the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tones within that key. And again, they go up and down the fretboard. So if we were to do the simple, go from a D and walk it down to an A and walk it back up to a D. If we just use major chord notes, that would be, whoops. All right, walk it down to an A. The bass note would be a 1, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 1. But the gritty version would be 1, 1, 1, flat 7, 6, 5, 5, 5, flat 7, 7, 1. Okay, so we're bringing in that flat 7th note. That note is just going to add this nice degree of tension that we're not used to hearing in the key of D, and that's going to just, again, add that bit of grittiness there. And again, compare that to the normal version. One more time. Now the gritty version. Okay, and then next, let's look at this version where we're going to go from the D up to the G, and then back to a D. Okay, this is the 1 chord to the 5 or to the 4 chord, and back to a 1 chord. So normally the major scale note version would be again 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the gritty version where we're going to add that flat third. Okay, so let me play the clean version without talking, and then the gritty version. You can hear that difference. This is the clean version. Now, here's the gritty version. Okay, so that is what you have in the key of D. Now, the important part about this lesson is you could do this with any key you wanted to. I would encourage you to go to fretmonster.net. That's my own, again, web tool. Pull up any key you want. So basically, use these flat third and flat 7th notes. If you want to get a bit of a grittier sound with what you're playing, these can be great notes to just add into your walk-ups and walk-downs or any other points where you're adding any kind of flourish. They they do are very powerful and effective at sort of breaking the illusion of that major scale. Because sometimes a major scale can be just super bright and cheery and everything. And sometimes you want to break that illusion. And I find that these two notes can be a helpful way to do that. All right, so that's going to be it for this little lesson here. I hope you found this helpful. Again, here's the deal, y'all. The chord sheet for this one, you can get at my website, playsongnotes.com. This is lesson 361, okay? But again, as I said earlier, I have a few other lessons that are going to help you with this. One is this one, just understanding the 12 notes. This is lesson 356. That's going to give you just a vocabulary for what are the 12 notes and how do you think about sharps versus flats. But then I have this one, which is walk-ups, walk-downs, and the fretboard. This one just uses the major scale in each key. I have 5 different keys in this one. And it looks at just basic common walk-downs, which again are just these baseline phrases that connect a chord to a different chord. And these phrases are just coming from the major scale of that key. So understand the 12 notes. Check out this one, walk-ups, walk-downs, and the fretboard, lesson 354. And then you can that'll give you context for the one I just showed you in this video, lesson 361, which is adding grit, just with the flat third and the flat seventh. So I hope that was helpful for y'all. Check out my other lessons and let me know what questions you have. Again, this is sort of stuff that I'm working out myself, and I wanted to share this as I'm making my way along the journey of figuring this stuff out and having fun with it. So thanks very much for watching, y'all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.